guys, I wanted to talk about this album that I was just rocking today. But I want to be clear, this wasn't my album. I didn't buy this album. I probably would never have bought this album. This is the album by Ja Rule. And I don't think I ever would have bought any particular albums by Ja Rule. Ever. But my girl had this album laying around somewhere, and I found it, and I was, first I laughed at her, and then I took it, and I was going to listen to it, because I was like, I'm from the Slim Shady camp with all that, and so whenever Slim Shady attacks someone like Ja Rule or Limp Bizkit, you pretty much assume that they're worthless. Now, that was back in the day when things were a little different, but I was thinking to myself, maybe I was caught up, just like these kids today. Maybe I chose sides and I didn't really need to. So I was like, let me listen to this album, give it a fighting chance, a fair shot. They were big. I mean, Murder Inc. was big, and I like Ashanti as far as, I mean, I don't know if I should really tell people that, but I did like Ashanti. Okay? She was cute. Soft little voice. I liked it. She had like one dance move, but I could do it, and so I liked it. But I don't know, man. Even back in the day, I thought Slim Shady was going pretty hard on him, because on the surface, he seems like a legitimate rapper, artist, mostly, sorta. But I know there was a lot of issues. People were looking and saying, hey, he's trying to be like Pac, or, people will say he's trying to rip off DMX or whatever. But, at the time, I probably just didn't really think much about it. I was just like, oh, yeah, Slim Shady said so we're going to boycott that. But now, it's been a while. I'm trying to be fair. But I don't think I can really say a whole lot good about this album. It has two good beats. Whatever. To everybody who be living it up, What Do I Do, whatever that song's called. And then the other one that's right with it, Every Little Thing That We Do, I think. That's the two tracks that he's got on there. And those were tracks you would have heard on the radio if you're, in my age range. And I think overall, when you heard a Ja Rule song on the radio, you didn't mind it. Like when you heard him and Jay-Z, it was cool. But then Eminem came along and shit on him, and pardon my language, dissed him. And then after that, it was a wash. But now I know why, okay? If you go listen to this album, it's pretty comedic to think about, really. First of all, their label was called Murder Inc. And I don't know anything about these dudes personally, Irv Gotti and Ja Rule. I don't know nothing about them, like, for real. But something tells me they probably didn't do as much murdering as they portrayed. And like one of the songs on this album, he's like, yeah, we'll murder you and take your money. We'll kill you, murder you. And so it's just kind of like, and maybe that wasn't Ja Rule. I can't remember. It was the beginning of a track. But it doesn't matter. It's pretty blatant. Pretty not subliminal. Another not subliminal thing was where he's talking about ecstasy. Of course, this is an old album. These days he'd probably talk about Molly or something, but he's talking about ecstasy. And the beginning of the albums, or beginning of the song, he's talking about this ecstasy pill and that one. And he lists all a couple different ones that, back in the day probably was popular. But then what's funny is he starts rapping and he says, yeah, all right, yeah, give me one of them right there. Let me take one of them. He's talking about the pills, and then he's like, yeah, cut that in half. And I'm like, hold on, man. If you're gonna ad lib on the track and make it sound like you're, getting messed up, why are you gonna show them you're a lightweight? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not condoning nothing here. I don't know how much ecstasy you should take or not take. Probably it depends on your size, body, and a whole bunch of things. But, and I know Ja Rule's little. He is little probably, so maybe a half is great. But what I know is Scarface was not going to come out there and be like, no, I don't need a pile of cocaine, just a little bump. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Tony Montana didn't do a half of anything. So if you're going to portray the old drug lifestyle, whether or not you're actually popping a pill in the studio or whatever, you just sell us on it. You know, you don't have to tell us it was a half. That just seems silly to me. That's like, hey man, let's do some shots, and then I'm gonna just sip on mine. I'm just gonna sip on it for a little while. No, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna sip on this one. That's what it seemed like to me. Or be like, you know, other rappers, you know, like Redman will probably talk about rolling up a blunt. Ja Rule will be like, hey, are you gonna throw that roach away or can I hit it? Like, come on, man. Look, you're not helping your cause to anyone, and to be like, yeah, I can rap. I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm gonna go hard in the paint and I kill people, but I don't want to overdo it with the ecstasy. So I don't know, man. That was just, it was a little laughable. I think it was laughable to me, especially with his history and you know, poor guy. I mean, he did go to jail for something. I don't remember what, probably taxes or something. But then after that, you know, 50 Cent has wrecked shop on him 100 times. You know, not just on records or whatever, but he's still these days talk on him on Instagram or something like that. And then even Eminem's talking on him, you know. And it's funny. It is funny to see, like, I wonder what happens when he goes, like, to Dunkin' Donuts or something. Or, you know, he goes to get gas or something. And people's like, oh, man, they shit on you so hard. Sorry for cursing. They dissed you so hard or something. You know, like, do you think they probably, like, rag on him every day, all day long? Or do you think they're still, like, jockeying, like, oh, my gosh, Ja Rule, let me get your autograph, while they're wearing a Marshall Mathers LP shirt? Probably. People are posers. But anyway, I wanted to give Ja Rule some credit. He had a lot of radio hits, and, you know, I probably danced to him, grinding at the club. But, you know, I probably wasn't quite as conscious then. And then I start, you know, really breaking down hip-hop now. And looking back, I could say he definitely probably got the type of response that he should have got. I mean, look, it's not great to just be hating on people all the time, but I don't know. Sometimes, like, look, if you're going to be a mediocre musician, that's fine. But if you're going to be a mediocre musician who's, like, talking about killing people and, you know, being real hesitant with your ecstasy usage, then probably people aren't going to take you very seriously as hardcore or whatever it is you're pushing there. So, I don't know. I like when rappers be themselves mostly. So, probably he was just boring in real life. Or like one of those dudes that like thinks he's real cool and he's not. I'm just speculating. I shouldn't say. He might be a sweet guy. I don't know. Could you imagine though if Ja Rule was being sweet with that voice? You come on over there and he's like, "Hey, who wants some iced tea?" And I'll be like, "Well, is it sweet or unsweet?" Everybody down south likes sweet tea, but I gotta be honest, I'm not a sweet tea kind of guy. I might go 50-50 on a good day, on a Sunday when I'm trying to wild out. I might go 50-50, but I can't do no sweet tea. If I go through Whataburger and they give me sweet tea, I'll throw it right out. Not the styrofoam, but I'll pour that tea out because then I'll accidentally drink it and I'll want to throw up and give me a headache, all kind of stuff. I don't know why we're talking about tea, but I guess if you're going to talk about sweet tea on a hip-hop thing, then Ja Rule was probably the appropriate one to do it with. But I tried.